You're standing at the mouth of a tunnel that runs underneath an Amish farmhouse in Holmes County, Ohio. No wires, no compressor, no thermostat, and the air coming out of it is 55 degrees in the middle of August. This $300 system cools any home to 55 degrees using nothing but the earth beneath your feet and a fan that draws less power than a light bulb. The Amish have been building it for 200 years. The cooling industry has known about it since 1930, and in 1930, they made sure you would never find out. After the last video, many of you asked the same thing. What about summer? What about keeping a home cool? So I went back to Holmes County, and what I found underneath those farms is the same physics the Persians used to store ice through 120-degree desert summers 2,400 years ago. And yes, this works, even if your house was built 50 years ago. Here's the number that changes everything. At 6 feet below the surface, the ground temperature locks in and stays constant all year. Summer, winter, doesn't matter what's happening above. Oak Ridge National Laboratory, that's the Department of Energy's own research facility, measured it city by city. In Chicago, the ground sits at 55 degrees year-round. In Atlanta, 62. Denver, 58. Phoenix, 67. Minneapolis, 52. And in Holmes County, Ohio, right where those Amish farms sit, the soil temperature stays between 54 and 56 degrees every single day of every single year. It never changes. Now, think about that for a second. Your air conditioner works by compressing chemical refrigerant, forcing it through coils, blowing air across those coils, and dumping the heat outside. It pulls maybe 3.5 units of cooling for every unit of electricity it consumes. Engineers call that a coefficient of performance of about 3.5. An earth tube, a simple buried pipe that lets air travel through cool ground, was measured across 47 installations worldwide, with a coefficient of performance of 28.7. 28 versus 3. That gap represents billions of dollars in equipment, refrigerant, electricity, and service contracts every year. And that's why you've never heard of this. The physics behind it is so simple it almost sounds too good. Soil is heavy, between 100 and 125 pounds per cubic foot. Moving that mass even 1 degree takes enormous energy, 20 to 30 BTUs per cubic foot. When summer heat bakes the surface, it starts sinking into the earth, but it moves slowly, 6 to 8 weeks to penetrate just 6 feet. By the time it arrives, the season has already changed. The earth can't absorb the heat fast enough to warm up. It stays cool. It is the largest thermal battery on the planet, and it's sitting underneath every home in America right now doing absolutely nothing because nobody told you it was there. The Amish didn't read about this in a textbook. They figured it out the way they figure out everything, by paying attention to what the earth was already doing and then building around it. Every farm in Holmes County has a root cellar dug 10 feet deep. No insulation, no mechanical cooling. The soil keeps it between 32 and 40 degrees year-round. That's not tradition. That is applied physics refined over 2 centuries. Then there are the spring houses. These are small buildings constructed directly over natural springs where groundwater flows at 54 to 56 degrees constant. The water moves under the floor. The building stays between 50 and 58 degrees all summer. The Amish in Lancaster County and Holmes County use them to keep dairy and produce fresh without a single watt of electricity. I stood inside one on a day when it was 91 degrees outside. Inside that spring house, I could see my breath. But the system that matters most for this video is what the Amish call the breath of the floor. Clay pipes buried under the foundations of their farmhouses. Air enters from outside, travels underground through those pipes, and rises through the floorboards cooled by the earth. The USDA documented this system in a manual published in 1903, specifically noting clay pipe installations in Holmes County, Ohio. That document is over 120 years old. The system it describes is still running under Amish homes today, and here's where it gets interesting. The Amish who settled Ohio and Pennsylvania came from Germany and Switzerland. Those same 2 countries now lead the world in modern earth tube engineering. Germany has 847 monitored residential earth tube installations tracked by the Passive House Institute in Darmstadt since 2005. Austria requires thermal labyrinth analysis for any building over 1,000 square meters. Switzerland has a 15-year longitudinal